right, it is almost 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and give people a minute to sign in before we start our discovery reading for today. My name is Alyssa. I'm another one of the educators here at the Bean Life Science Museum. So we'll just give it another minute. Hope everyone's week is going well, having a good Thursday. We'll just give it one more minute before we get started. Got some fun stories to read, so hopefully you're all excited. Give it a couple more seconds, see if we can get a couple more people to join us for today. Well, it is 11 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. Hopefully we'll get some more people joining later. If not, that's okay. Today we are going to be reading some stories about camouflage. Camouflage is a pretty big word, but hopefully most of you already know what that is. I'm sure you do. Camouflage is when an animal blends into their surroundings. So we'll go ahead and jump right in with our first book. This is actually the second book in a series of books. So this one is called Where Else in the Wild? More Camouflaged Creatures Concealed and Revealed. This one has poems by David M. Schwartz and Yale Shai, with photos by Dwight Kuhn, read with permission from Tricycle Press. So this book, on each page, there is going to be a poem and a picture. So as I read the poem, your job is to look in the picture and see if you can find the camouflaged animal on each page. So this first poem is called Measure by Measure. Creeping and crawling, I bend and extend. Smooth, hairless body, legs at each end. Green as these tendrils of curlicue vine, standing immobile at danger's first sign. Chomping and munching, feeding all day, measure by measure, inching my way. So how many of you guys found the animal on this page? Go ahead and show you. This is the inchworm, and just like the poem said, it's very smooth, it's very bright green. That helps it blend in very well to these curly vines right here. Even its movement matches the curliness of the vines as it inches its way along. All right, this next poem is really short, so look fast. This is Praying as I Pray. This is a haiku. Elegance in white, poised upon an orchid blossom, praying as I pray. You guys spot the animal in this picture? This is another insect. This is an orchid mantis. And you can see how its colors and its patterns perfectly match the orchid that it camouflages with. It's mostly all white, but it does have these brown and these little green, or these green and brown spots that match the center of the orchid. So it probably wouldn't do too well camouflaging on a bright green plant, but on these orchids, it's pretty well camouflaged. All right, this poem is called One Great Bound. See if you can find the animal. I'm fast and strong, my feet are long, and when I'm on my way, in one great bound I leave the ground, then land 10 feet away. When cold winds blow, I match the snow, my fur's a soft white gown. But then I molt and change my coat. By summer, I've turned brown. All right, this is a pretty tricky one to find. So I'll give you a second to look for it. This is a snowshoe hare. You can see it's right down here. And it camouflages very well in the snow with its, white coat, just like the poem said. But again, just like the poem, they can change their coat. So in winter, when there's snow on the ground, like in this picture, they are that white color. But in the spring or the summer, when the snow all melts, they will shed their coat and they will grow a new brown one so they can still camouflage in any season. All right, this one's pretty tricky. In wintertime, when ponds and rivers freeze, I hibernate beneath the bark of trees. When warm days come, I wake and start to sing. I'm often called a harbinger of spring. To find a mate, I make a peeping sound by puffing out my throat until it's round. I'm known for chirping loudly through the night, To find me, use your hearing, not your sight. Fortunately, we can't hear this animal right now, so you'll have to just look for it with your sight. All right, this is a spring peeper. It's a little kind of tree frog. You can see it right down there. And they have the perfect colors and texture even to blend in with trees and moss and all the little fungi and lichens and things that grow on the trees. So there it is right down there. All right, this next page has 3 animals. So see if you can spot all 3. It's a pretty long poem, so hopefully you'll have time to find all of them. So it's called Garbage Collectors. We live underwater in creeks and in brooks. When frightened, we hide under rocks or in nooks. We only swim backwards, we see where we've been. And as we get bigger, we shed our old skin. Losing a leg is no problem for us. We just grow a new one without any fuss. We've got 8 little legs, plus 2 that are jumbo. Some folks like to eat us. They put us in gumbo. We scavenge for food, we're garbage collectors. But don't get too close, we're fearsome protectors. If fingers or toes come within half an inch, they're going to suffer a terrible pinch. So did you guys find all 3 animals in this picture? Here they are. This one is probably pretty easy to spot. These 2 are a little trickier. They're a little smaller. But like the poem said, they have to shed their skin. They've got this exoskeleton, this shell that they shed to get bigger, but it also has exactly the right colors and texture to blend right in with these rocks at the bottom of the pond or the creek where they live. All right, we got a couple more. Let's see how many of these you can find. This is Winter's Morn. Winter's morn, cold and gray. Time to eat, can't delay. Feeder hangs by the door. Peck, snap, gulp, seeds galore. Door swings out, human near. What to do? Out of here. Land on bush, heartbeat slows. Wait it out till he goes. Now he's gone, coast is clear. Back to seeds, no more fear. Feast again, safely now. What's that sound? Meow, meow, meow. So this is a really small animal. So how many of you found it? Got it. This is a black-capped chickadee. Black-capped chickadee, there it is right there. Some of you may have seen these in your yard. I know I've seen a lot of them in my yard at home or my grandparents' house. And this one is interesting because unlike some of the other animals, like the toad we saw, it isn't all just one color. It's got 3 different colors on it. So it's got the black cap that blends in with these darker colored tree trunks and branches. It's got the white that blends in with the snow. And it's got the brown that blends in with these branches. So there's our black-capped chickadee. All right, this one is upside down. In darkest night, I hunt for flies until the sun begins to rise. At break of day, I'm upside down, holding tight above the ground. Here I rest the whole day through upon a stalk of brown bamboo. So can you spot this animal here? This one is a lined leaf-tailed gecko, and it's hooked just like the poem right here. These geckos are, of course, the perfect color to blend in with the bamboo, but they also can position themselves to look just like the bamboo. They've got their little feet holding on tight so they can hang upside down and blend in with the bamboo going vertically. They've got really special little suction cup feet that help them hang onto those bamboo branches so they don't fall. They have to stay really still when they do this. Of course, movement attracts attention, and if they want to camouflage and blend in, they can't move. All right, this is another tricky one. There are 3 animals on this page, so see if you can spot all of them. This poem is a Q&A. What looks like a leaf but has wings, legs, and eyes? An insect that hides with a clever disguise. How does it manage to fool us like that? It's totally green, and its abdomen's flat. A remarkable bug, how else is it shrewd? To resemble a leaf, it appears to be chewed. But an insect must move. Does it amble with ease? It sways when it walks, like a leaf in the breeze. Does this really exist? Can you show it to me? Just look at the picture. Sharp eyes will find 3. So did you find all 3 of our leaf insects here? There they are. We've got one down here, one up here, one over here. And you'll notice that they have a really good camouflage because not only is their abdomen shaped like a leaf, each of their legs is also shaped like a little leaf. And they've got jagged edges that kind of match the edges of the leaves in this picture. You can see how they're not perfectly smooth. And just like the poem said, when they move around, like we talked about with the gecko, this one can't move at all because it doesn't want to attract attention. But the leaf insects, they can move with the leaves in the breeze. So when the wind blows, they'll sway back and forth and move along with those leaves. All right, 3 more. Let's see if we can find them all. All right, take a closer look. There's Mickey and Minnie, as cute as can be, and 3 in a song who simply can't see. There's Debonair Stewart, who wins with his charm, and visiting cousins from city and farm. But strangest of all is a high-tech device. To make it perform, you click once or click twice. Forget about them, take a close look at me. I'm not in old stories, I'm not on TV. I don't grab the limelight, I don't wear bright clothes. I've got whiskers and fur, and a sharp twitchy nose. My color's called mousy, it helps me survive. If I keep out of sight, I might stay alive. So you find the animal in this picture. You could probably figure it out from the poem. This one is a mouse. This is a white-footed mouse, and it's right over here, right under this leaf. And it's got the perfect color to blend in as well. All right, this is the trickiest one in the whole book. So see if you can figure this one out. This poem is called Be Cautious. There are 2 animals in this picture. Be wary, we're scary. We're ugly, not snuggly. Fins pierce, we're fierce. Hey enemy, we're venomy. Don't squash us, be cautious. Anyone find these ones? I know I didn't find these ones when I first read this book. These are scorpion fish. So they're these 2 little blobs down here that look just like the coral. They're super hard to spot, and they can use their camouflage in the coral to catch prey, to catch fish. So when fish come, they might also try to hide in the coral. But if that coral is a scorpion fish, they might just get eaten. All right, this is our last one. This poem is called Ambushed. Yeah, bug, ambush, bug, ambush, bug, ambush, bug, ambush, ambushed. It almost looks like the letter M is eating this bug. Maybe that gives us a hint as to what we're looking for. That was a short poem, so I'll give you another second to find the camouflaged animal in this picture. How many of you found it? This is, of course, an ambush bug right down here. And they, just like the scorpion fish, they use their camouflage to catch their prey. So they'll hide, they'll blend in with these flowers. Bugs will come to drink nectar, and this ambush bug can jump out and have an easy snack. So that is Where Else in the Wild. There's our first book. So let's talk a little bit about why some of these animals camouflage. How does camouflaging help them survive? We talked about it a little bit with some of the last few. For example, the mouse, just like the last line says, if I keep out of sight, I might stay alive. So our mouse mainly uses its camouflage to hide from predators. Things like owls, snakes, other birds of prey, other mammals even will eat these mice. So they need camouflage to hide, to avoid getting eaten. Whereas animals like the scorpion fish or like the ambush bug will use their camouflage to find their food. So they'll hide from their prey and then jump out and grab it and eat it. Because of course, if their prey knows they're there, prey isn't gonna wanna go near them. So there's our book. I bet some of you have noticed some animals behind me. How many animals have you spotted back here? I'll give you a minute to look since I've been standing in front of them. A few, you probably have noticed this antelope right here. That's a pretty easy one. He doesn't camouflage very well in the bright green. How many of you noticed the bird right above the antelope? It's got some dark colors on its back so it can blend into the shadows pretty well. And on this side, we've got another antelope. This one's a little better camouflaged, but it's still pretty noticeable. We've got a gibbon. We've got an ape in this tree. It's black. It's hanging down. You might be able to see its feet right above the antelope. And then how many of you noticed this snake down here on the ground? Right down here. That one is a ball python. And they are really good at camouflaging. And they use their camouflage for both things we talked about. They use it to hide from their prey, and they use it to find their prey. So you can see it's got two different colors on it. It's got a lighter brown and a darker brown. And their belly is a light white color. So they have a special type of camouflage called counter shading. So if we have the snake, it might be on the ground, but they also like to live up in trees. And when they're in the trees, their dark color is on top and their light color is on the bottom. So if they have a predator, say, like an eagle or an owl that's flying above the trees, they look down and they'll see their darker colors. They'll see the tan, they'll see the brown, and that pattern looks a lot like the shadows of leaves on a tree branch, and so they're able to camouflage that way. But from underneath, if an animal like a panther or a wild boar is looking for food, they look up and they'll see the light white color, which you wouldn't think camouflages very well, but because of the way they sit on the tree branches, that light color looks like the sunlight coming in through the leaves. And so they're able to camouflage from both sides, and that's called counter shading. A lot of ocean animals have that as well, like an orca or a penguin, where their belly is white and their back is black, and they can camouflage from both sides. So they're able to hide from predators that way. They're also able to hide from their prey that way. But these ball pythons, they've got something that makes it even easier for them to find their prey. So they like to eat things like rodents and mice. And like we saw in the book, mice are pretty good at camouflaging, except that this ball python has what's called heat vision. So instead of seeing the colors of the things around it, they can see how hot or how cold it is. So a warm-blooded mouse is going to stand out to them, especially if it's hiding in some cold, dead leaves. So that's how they're able to find their prey, even when the prey is camouflaged. So it makes it a little tricky for those mice. Let's go ahead and read our second book now. This one's going to talk about some things that we've already talked about, like why animals camouflage. But as I read, I also want you to pay attention to where each animal is camouflaging. So let's get started. This book is What Color is Camouflage? It's by Carolyn Otto, illustrated by Megan Lloyd, and read with permission from HarperCollins Publishers. All right, what color is camouflage? In the foothills near my house, a mountain lion might be hunting. Did you notice the mountain lion over here? He stalks across a dry hillside. His golden fur matches the grass. A doe raises her head to sniff the air. Her fawn is quiet, and the lion passes by. Did you notice the fawn right here under her mother? In my backyard, a robin could catch an insect that looks like a leaf. After dark, a skunk and her babies might walk right down my street. My dog can see their bold white stripes, but he's learned to leave skunks alone. So there's our robin eating a leaf insect like we saw in the other book. Here's the skunks. Near my house and all over the world, at every time of day or night, animals are hunting for food, or they are being hunted. Animals must eat each other in order to live, and to live, they sometimes have to hide. Animals hide in holes, burrows, and dens, in plants, underwater, and beneath rocks. Some animals hide out in plain sight, but they are still very hard to see. The doe's coat and the mountain lion's fur blend into the colors surrounding them. The fawn's spots match the sun and shade that dapple the thicket where she hides. When in danger, the fawn must stay very still. Any movement might draw the eye of a hunter. The fawn and the doe and the prowling lion, each one of these animals is camouflaged. Notice how they're all kind of the same color so they can blend into the same environment. What color is camouflage? Camouflage can be a certain color or a pattern of colors or a special shape that fools the eye. Animal camouflage is a kind of disguise. It makes an animal hard to see. Camouflage helps an animal hide from enemies, and it can help a hunter sneak up on its prey. Hiding and hunting are both made easier when an animal matches its surroundings. A green insect clinging to a green leaf is much harder to see than a red insect. If a green insect is shaped like a leaf, even the hungriest bird could miss it. So here's our red fox. We've got a little chipmunk camouflage down in the corner. And then over here, there's 3 kinds of bugs on this page. You probably noticed the spotted asparagus beetles. Those stand out a lot. And then you probably noticed these scarlet and green leaf hoppers. They're green, so they can blend in pretty well. But even better are these stink bugs. There are a few of them here, and they're shaped just like the leaves. They're very well camouflaged. Some animals disguise themselves by dressing in plants, pebbles, and even other living things. Many crabs are experts at decorating their bodies with seaweed, shells, rocks, sponges, or anemones. It's a tricky word today. When animals are perfectly camouflaged, sticks seem to crawl, leaves can fly, and a stone may have eyes and a beak. High up in the mountains above my house, this rock-colored ptarmigan warms her eggs. In summer, a ptarmigan has many dark feathers. By snowfall, her feathers will be pure white. When the surrounding world changes color, certain animals can change right along with it. Some, like the ptarmigan, change slowly. Her feathers change color as she molts. Only the dark eyes and tips of his ears give away a jackrabbit in his winter coat. So this is kind of what we talked about in the other book, where the snowshoe hare, or a jackrabbit, will change color with the seasons, and the ptarmigan does that too. They'll molt their feathers. Young animals may change coloring as they grow, as they get big or strong or very swift. The fawn's spots will gradually fade when she can run away from danger. So once the fawn grows up and is old enough and fast enough and strong enough, they won't need to camouflage as much. Though it may take nearly 3 minutes for an American anole to change coloring, certain chameleons, squids, and octopuses can turn different colors in seconds flat. They may change to match their surroundings or because they feel excited or threatened. I don't know if you've ever seen an octopus change color to camouflage, but it's pretty cool to watch. So, and there's our anoles, and they can change. They can't change into nearly as many colors as an octopus can, but they can change to a brown or a green depending on where they're trying to camouflage. Many animals don't ever change. Some don't need any camouflage at all. These animals don't have to hide. Their colors may attract attention. A robin's red breast helps him find a mate, and a skunk's bold stripes are a warning. Animals sometimes use colors or bright patterns to say, "I smell," "I sting," or "I'm poisonous." So they want other animals to notice them because they want those other animals to stay away. Once sprayed by a skunk or stung by a bee, a hunter learns to avoid them the next time. Harmless animals may copy warning signals to protect themselves from their enemies. So here's a couple different animals. These ones are the poisonous or venomous ones. These ones are just bluffing. They're pretending to be poisonous in hopes that an animal won't try to eat them and find out. A flash of bright color may be enough to fool a predator or to scare it away. Some animals have spots that look like eyes. Eye spots can frighten or confuse an enemy. A hunter may strike at eyes on a wing or tail, which gives the prey a small chance to escape. Whether hunter or hunted, predator or prey, colors and camouflage can help an animal survive. How many animals can you spot on these pages? There's quite a few blending in. Wherever you live, animals live near you. In backyards and in city parks, outside and in your house, in plants, underwater, in the air, animals are everywhere. Do you see an animal? An animal you can spot right away might be saying something important. Look closely and more closely still. Look at colors, patterns, and shapes. An old stump could be a bird. A green branch may be a snake. A twig may be a caterpillar. A thorn might be an insect. A rock may be a turtle. And a dead leaf could be a toad. Look closely when you go outside. Can you find the hidden animals? You can probably find most of them on this page. The owl, the toad, snake. We got a little caterpillar over here. The turtle. There's a tree hopper, an insect down there. They're a little harder to spot on this page. Can you find all the animals? When animals are camouflaged, they can be very hard to see. That's the end of what color is camouflage. So like we talked about on a few of the pages of this book, animals camouflage based on their environment, like how the anoles, the lizards, can change their color from green to brown depending on where they are, or even how the ptarmigan and the hare can change their color depending on the season. So I brought a few animal specimens with me, and to wrap up today, we are going to see if you can figure out what habitats or what places they might be able to camouflage in. So I've got 5 different animals, and see if you can figure out where they camouflage before I tell you. Our first specimen should be pretty easy. This has been in our books, so see if you can figure it out. We got some praying mantises. So there's one, there's another one, just a different angle. You can notice how it's got some green and some brown on it. Its legs are very skinny. They almost look like twigs. So this praying mantis probably is best at camouflaging in plants and bushes. It's got legs like twigs. Its wings might look kind of like a leaf, and it's got the right colors to be able to camouflage. Let's try a little bit of a trickier one. We got here in this box some rattlesnakes. Take a look at the colors and the patterns. It's a little bit of glare, so sorry about that. There we go. They've got some, they're mostly tan. They got a little bit of lighter tan spots, some darker spots. Their scales look pretty rough, kind of bumpy. So these rattlesnakes would probably be best at camouflaging in the desert. They've got the right colors to blend in with sand. They've got bumpy scales that look like the texture of sand. And these ones are really small, so they'd probably be really good at camouflaging in the desert. There's the second one. We got 3 more. This one is a Pacman frog. Now we've seen some frogs and some toads in our books with some different patterns. Let's look at the colors on this one. We see it's got some spots, it's got some dark brown, some green in between there, and even a little bit of reddish colors on its back right here. So where do you think this frog could camouflage? This one, these guys are from Argentina, and they will camouflage right on the edge between a lake and between the water and the shore of a lake. They will have slimy skin, so they like to stay in the water, and that shiny skin helps them camouflage with the water. They'll also cover themselves in mud and moss that match some of their colors. The moss especially matches the patterns we see, and they're able to hide really well. And then right there on the edge of the water, they're able to catch their prey. So they're pretty lazy. They don't like to go out hunting. They'll stay hidden, and when animals like bugs and flies and mice and fish and even other frogs come by, they can snap them up right there from their position on the edge of the water. So there's our Pacman frog. We got 2 more. Let's do the big one next. All right, so I brought today, this is an Arctic fox. That probably gives away its habitat a little bit, but that's all right. You can notice that it's pretty light colored. but on its head and on the tips of its hair, you can see that it's kind of brown. It's got some darker colors. Its paws are also a little darker. So this is an Arctic fox with its spring or summer coat. Just like the Arctic hare or snowshoe hare and the ptarmigan that we talked about, they will also change their coat depending on the season. So this might be their spring or summer coat, and their winter coat might look a little more like this. So you can see that it is a lot lighter in comparison. It can blend in a lot better with the snow as opposed to the ground or the dirt when the snow has all melted. All right, we have one more. See if you guys can figure out this habitat. All right, this is probably an animal you've seen before. This is a Mallard Duck. And as a lot of you probably know, this is a female mallard. Now, they look a lot different than the males. I'll go ahead and bring out a male as well. So the male Mallard Duck has this bright colored head, right? It's got green. This one even has some purple shimmer to it. And they are a little bit different colors, right? The male mallards, just like we read about in our What Colors Camouflage book, they use their bright colored head to stand out. They use it to attract a mate, just like the robin we read about in the book. And so they want to stand out a little bit. The females don't want to stand out. And that's because they have to take care of the eggs in the nest. And so they will build a nest in the reeds around the pond. And the colors, you'll notice there are some darker browns and some lighter browns in here. When they fold their wings in, these bright purple spots aren't as visible. And they can hide while protecting their nest and camouflage in the reeds there. So that is our last specimen for today. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you learned something new. And next time you go outside, pay close attention and see what animals you can spot around you, especially in the bushes and the trees. There are probably a lot of animals that you didn't notice before. So that's it for today. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday with Discovery Reading again.